The last few weeks, just to catch everybody up, we've been making our way around the first turn of the U theory of change. After the first stage, letting go of the old ways of seeing the world, now we need to develop new ways of seeing the world in a stage that Brian McLaren, author of Life After Doom, book we've been reading together, what he calls letting be, a place of insight, a place where we see in new ways. And so it seemed today that a good story to tell would be one of the many stories about Jesus healing somebody who was blind. There's lots to choose from, but the one that I chose today is from the Gospel of John. And I chose it because John has a unique way of telling stories, the Jesus stories, those gospel stories, that goes beyond just telling about the events of the story. But he always has these sort of hidden kind of messages to tell. And in the case of today's story, John is highlighting the comedic irony. I don't know if you caught it in the story. The irony that the only one who could see Jesus for who Jesus truly was the beggar that was literally once blind. Everybody else was unable to see who Jesus was. The neighbors, they had trouble believing their eyes. The religious leaders, they stubbornly refused to open their eyes and accept the truth. And even later, the man's parents, they're afraid to admit what was plain as day. And each of these three sets of characters in the story couldn't see how God was working in the world. And so the point that the gospel writer of John was trying to make is that there are other kinds of blindness in the world that can be just as debilitating to us, and especially to our spirit. In his book, Life After Doom, Brian McLaren likens the way that we look at our world to a pair of rose-colored glasses. Now, I couldn't find a pair of rose-colored glasses today, but I did find another pair of glasses here. This is an old pair of glasses that I had. I was wondering if I could have a volunteer come up and have a look through these glasses and tell me how you can see. Is there anybody who wants to volunteer today? Daniel wants to volunteer. Anybody else? I got lots of other things. You think about it. There's other things you can volunteer. Come on up, Daniel. I want you to put on these glasses and tell me how well you see, okay?
Not very good.
Not very good. Yep, you're having, like, things are kind of blurry?
Yeah.
Yep. And you can see better without the glasses on?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason why that is. I don't know if you can see my glasses here. How dirty they are. I was when I first got my first pair of glasses a few years ago. A few months into having them, I was having coffee with a friend, and I was saying, "Man, I cannot see as well as I used to be in these glasses. I feel like my vision's getting worse and worse." And then what they did was they reached over, pulled my glasses off. They got out a little cloth, and they started to clean my glasses. And then I put them on. I was, whoa, I can see! Just a little cleaning on the glasses, and I was able to see so much better. And when McLaren's talking about the glasses that we wear, these rose-colored glasses, they distort our view. And he believes these glasses represent our worldview. Things like a capitalist worldview, a consumerist worldview, a Western worldview, a privileged worldview. And all these different ways that we see the world can inhibit us from seeing the world in other ways. That's why I'm so glad that we have an Indigenous speaker coming next week to help us see in a different way. And that's the characters in the story. We're a lot like them with our worldview. We can have trouble seeing where God is at work. And some of us are blind like the beggar's neighbors. Like you've been wearing your glasses for so long. You know when you have your glasses on your head and you're like, where are my glasses? You've got comfortable with them on your head. Sometimes we get comfortable looking through something. We don't even realize that worldview or that lens is there. But when something happens that challenges that worldview, we get confused, like the neighbors. Some of us are blind like the religious leaders in the story, though. See, the religious leaders knew that they were wearing glasses, their religious glasses. And they knew that in order to see what God was doing, they were going to have to take off their glasses. But that, for them, would mean giving up their privilege and their power and admitting that God worked in ways other than the ones that they knew. So when our worldview gives us considerable privilege, it can be hard to give up our glasses. So that's the Pharisees. Some of us are blind like the parents in the story, though. The parents also knew that they were wearing glasses, but they were afraid to take them off. Seeing differently than those around you can be scary, and it can have consequences, especially when there are powerful people invested in us keeping our glasses on all the time, blinding us to what is really happening in our world. Taking off your rose-colored glasses can take a lot of courage, and it takes new ways of seeing and practice to take our glasses off and see in new ways. And I got an example for you this morning. You can put this up on the screen here. Do you remember what this is? Anybody know what that is? Yeah, it's called a magic eye. And these were all the rage when I was in high school. And you could even, like they were in newspapers all the time, and you could even buy whole books of just these magic eyes. And what essentially they are is somewhere in the midst of this sort of jumble, I know it just looks like sort of a big sort of abstract kind of painting, but somewhere in there is a 3D image. And some of you are trying to see it already because you know what they are. But what you have to do, kind of how they work, is you have to sort of throw your focus past the image to be able to see this 3D image that's hiding there. And that can be a little difficult. It's not the easiest thing to do. So what they suggest you do, and I've got one here on paper. Anybody able to see it yet? Oh, Rick's got it. So what you can do to help do that is you just put the image very close to your face, and then you pull it away slowly without refocusing your eyes, and then you will be able to see this 3D image. And there's some at the back there if the kids want to try this, or if anybody else wants to try it this morning. And I won't spoil the surprise. You can talk to Rick later what it is. But these magic eyes, it can be a little tricky. But I was reading some posts about magic eyes this week as I was preparing for the sermon, and I came across this one person who said that with practice, they were able to train their eyes to sort of throw their focus automatically, and they could almost instantly see these images by just sort of doing this trick. And so it was something that they could learn how to do. And I think that applies to us too, that as a church, but also as our wider society, we need to practice seeing things from different angles, through different lenses, so that we can bring into focus the things that are hidden from our normal view. I'm going to give you an example of how we might do that. And this comes from the book, a chapter where McLaren's teaching about two things. He's teaching about tipping points and lag times. And maybe you haven't heard about those words before. Maybe you have. The term tipping point should be maybe familiar. There was a past member of Gale Presbyterian who wrote a book entitled The Tipping Point. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a little game of Jenga. And if anybody wants to come up and help me with Jenga, you're welcome to come up here. Anybody else? I know some people like Jenga a lot. You're welcome to come on up. And so this Jenga tower here, yeah, come on up. Don't be shy. You guys know how to play Jenga? You know how to play Jenga? Okay, don't take anything yet. I need it to stand at least for my illustration here. So this Jenga tower is going to be our planet Earth. Okay, we're going to picture this. This is planet Earth. And for us to survive on planet Earth, we need to take some of the resources from planet Earth. And so I'm wondering, Finn, do you want to try taking one? Can you try and take one out? Very good. Awesome. So Finn's took one. And can you put it on top? You take it and then you put it on top. Very good. Anybody else want to try and take one? And you're going to be very gentle. Yeah, try maybe take it from there. Look at that one. That one's a good one to take out. Awesome. Okay, do you want to take one out too? Here, let me see if I can find a good one for you. Oh, that one's the easy one. There you go, take that one out. So this is what we do. To survive on this planet, we keep taking resources from the Earth. And I got a question, though, for you guys. What happens if we take too many resources too fast? If we take too many blocks out, what might happen? It could fall over. That's right. And so at one point, there is going to be a block that we are going to remove, and it is going to start tipping over, right? Mm-hmm. That is called the tipping point. And you don't know when the tipping point is going to be necessarily. And once it starts tipping, this is why it's called the tipping point, is because once it starts tipping, can you put the block back quickly and stop it from tipping? No, once it starts tipping, it's falling over. Just like that. That was the tipping point. Excellent. Thanks for... Now, if we had... so that's tipping points. That's a new way of seeing our world that is different. We don't often see the tipping point. We don't know what's going to be that last block. But if we know about these tipping points, we can start to see the world differently. The same thing is with lag times, because let's say we didn't pull that last block out, but we had a very teetering tower. Is everything fine as long as it hasn't tipped over? Well, what if a strong wind came by? Or what if somebody bumped the table? What would happen to that tower? Even though it was perfectly standing there, what would happen? It would fall down. And with lag times, if we take so many resources out, maybe it's fine now, but if there's some kind of incident or catastrophe, it might cause it to tip over. So these things like lag time and tipping points are different ways that we can see our world in a different way and recognize that we have a duty of care and responsibility when it comes to taking care of our earth so that we are not taking too much from the earth that the earth can't replenish. Can you guys help me clean up?
Make the tower bigger.
Yeah. If you guys want, you guys can build that tower for me, and I'm going to keep going with the rest of my sermon. And then we'll take it out of there. There you go. But thank you for helping me make that demonstration. Where are we at here? Like our story today, there are going to be people in our world who can't see that this is happening because of the rose-colored glasses they wear. Oh yeah, there's lots of resources. The Earth's so big, we'll never run out. There are also people in our world who refuse to see that it's happening because they are profiting from people wearing their rose-colored glasses, and they don't want to take them off. And then there are people who are scared to take off their glasses because it means facing the reality. And the reality is that as fun as the tipping point is in Jenga, it's not very fun when it comes to the climate crisis. But so there's all those sorts of people in our world, just like in our story today. But there are also people like the beggar, who after washing away the mud on their eyes, people who are able to see clearly, and in turn help others to see and look at the world in different ways. And this is the good news that I want you to take home today. Jesus wants us to see. At the end of the story in the Gospel of John, Jesus meets with the beggar again, who's now able to see, but he's kind of confused about sort of why people had responded in this way. And Jesus says this, "I came into this world so that those who do not see may see. And those who think they see, I've come in this world so that they can recognize that they don't see. I've come in this world so that those who do not see may see." And that is what we try and do here every Sunday, is to let Jesus open our eyes a little wider to see the world how he sees it. Not through the rose-colored glasses that blur our reality, that blur our priorities, but through the lens of love, where the world and all the creatures who live in it are seen as beloved by God. And as followers of Christ, this is our calling, is to open our eyes and help others see the belovedness and care for one another. May God open our eyes today. Amen.